been talking about doing a recording on this in my mind and putting it through for a little while. So I'm just going to do this straight, raw, unedited, just so I can get started. Now that I think that out loud, I'm probably going to do this in phases so I can maybe introduce what I want to do right here, and then ideally uh, do it in a way that it's going to be more people are going to want to watch it, because if it's dry and boring and not very well edited, that's probably not going to be something people would want to watch, not something I'd want to watch. And that might be okay. I think maybe my reason for wanting to do this is have to share information from my thoughts, and maybe just to talk it out and get what goes through my head out of my mind and out there in the world. So for what it's worth, what I want to do is have a video series that talks about aging and everything that comes with it. I think a big part of it is because, in addition to my real estate company that Tatum is the CEO of and runs full time, and I help her with, I've been working in hospice for going on 2 years, the same hospice company that took care of my mom. And so I see obviously people dealing with aging and illness and disease that doesn't care really what age people are. We have pediatrics, which is super sad, but it's necessary. It's something that we have there to help them through that. And then, on the other side, I've helped patients on the hospice side probably in the early 30s. So it's not just something that is affecting people who are getting up there in age, because this disease just seems to be more and more common and taking out more and more young people, sadly. So my thing is going to be talking about the whole aging process, for what I know about it, from what I see about it from the hospice side. But then the reason I wanted to talk about it is so that I can talk about my own experience of maybe not necessarily, well, I guess aging, because we're all aging, but mentally coming to grips with the inevitable. And maybe that's just something that is on my mind and others don't think about it. And maybe it hits people at different ages, and it's just hitting me at this particular age, which is ironic. A few years ago, I turned 50 and I felt on top of the world. I didn't think about age. It wasn't a consideration of mine. Felt good, felt healthy, felt young still, no different than when I turned 30 or 40. And business was good. Finances were good, which means the household was good. And everything was plugging along. And all I needed at that point in my mind was to start having grandbabies so I could experience that side of it. So that was a few years back, and I've since turned 53, not too many months back here. And in that time, from 50 and feeling young and on top of the world, and where I'm at now, so many things have happened and so many things have changed that has contributed to this being more of a thought in my mind. And I think it wasn't COVID related, because I think COVID was one of the best times of our family's lives as far as having an excuse to be home, sit in our backyard. I was working because business was booming, and things were moving along. And honestly, most of the family was working, but we were all doing it here from the house. So we were able to be together, and every day was just a new tournament of cornhole in the backyard and barbecue, and get work done, and then come spend time together. And that was awesome. It's something I'll never forget. But since then, the real estate business just became hammered. Interest rates did what it did, and everything just grinded to a halt. And at the same time, I'd spent a few years with one of my daughters, Tatum. Actually, both of my daughters were in the business, but Tatum actually got her license and was working on the real estate side of it with me, selling homes, and is still doing that. But it entered my mind that eventually I'm going to want to have some sort of exit strategy. and Tatum just does such a fantastic job with everything that it seemed like a good time to transition to have her take over running the company day to day and becoming really the decision maker on the company. She's great about including me. We talk about all the things, but at the end of the day, there can be one final decision maker. And I thought that was the time for Tatum to take over that and then build it to a point further than I could have ever taken it, I'm sure, with her talent and her ability and her incredible business sense and her strong education in business and communications. So what that meant was I needed to back away so that I wasn't hovering and constantly in the mix of her putting her own signature on this. So I started working, tried a few things that didn't really fit, and then ironically wound up representing a hospice company, which is the same hospice company that took care of my mother in my home 7-8 years ago when she passed away. So my experience with it, first of all, was incredible. Losing a parent, losing a loved one is never easy, and I know that from going through it. But then talking to so many people who've been through it and whose experiences were so much different than mine, so much agony and regret and just sadness in how their loved one passed and the questions that came with that process for them that stick with them year after year after year. And in my case, in my family's case, and I don't want to speak for everyone, but for myself, having hospice that I had no clue about, no idea what it even was, but having a friend, I'm very grateful for sharing it with me and getting my mom onto that hospice made things very different for me. They came in, they took care of everything. Our only job was to be by her, let her know we loved her, that we cared, that we appreciated all that she did in life. And in the back of, in our minds, we knew she was being cared for. We knew she wasn't suffering. There was no pain. There was no guesswork. They told us what we needed to do, when we needed to do it, came in and put eyes on her. So all that stress was gone, and all the regret and worry that I think would have followed with, did we do right by her? Did this? All these, other questions that go through mind that are probably the bigger part that torture people's soul after they've lost a loved one. I didn't experience any of that because I didn't have to think about those things. She was in a good place. She was happy. She was comfortable. She was where she wanted to be. She wasn't suffering anymore, which is huge for me. And nothing was left on the table. Everything was said and shared, and just a very, very beautiful experience. So fast forward all these years, and I find myself working with the company. The work itself is one I don't really work with the patients very often. I might meet with them in the beginning and kind of share with them what we do, how we do it, that sort of thing. But mostly I'm in there calling doctors, hospitals, retirement communities, skilled nursing facilities, this sort of thing, and really kind of getting the message out there, sharing what we do and how we do it, and then helping connect clinical people within the company with those people who we know out in the field. So if they need to get hold of someone quickly, we kind of have that in there. And if a doctor's office, hospital, whatever, needs to refer a patient out, they know about us and our service, and that's what we're keeping in front of them. So that part is wonderful. I think, to me, that gives me the opportunity to share the message on something that meant so much for me with other people. And the more people who can know about it and get that same care for their loved ones, I hope more and more people get the same experience that I got to have. And then, as the years move on, less and less of that regret that I've seen so many people struggle with when they lose someone that they love so much. So I think more of it was realizing age-wise that I'm closer and closer to the end than I'm at the beginning. Quite honestly, no matter how you cut it, no matter how much time I have left at this stage of life, it is less than the life that I've lived so far. And that was very sobering for me. And that is something that, quite honestly, I don't think I've been able to really completely compartmentalize. And I don't know if that's the right terminology, but really make fit in my mind that this is happening. It just is. That's it. It didn't bug me so much when the hearing started to go on. I got hearing aids. When the hair started to go gray, whatever. I'm cool with that. Having to wear glasses is a pain in the neck, but again, part of it. But it's just the reality of the things that are to come. And I think the biggest thing is the time constraint of knowing that it's not endless. Is something that's on my mind. It's been, my wife and I had kids fairly young, early 20s. So we got to experience that from a young time. We were always on that younger side of things. And it's wonderful now because as adults, we get to enjoy them and spend just really quality time with these beautiful adults that make me so proud each and every day. And now we have a grandbaby. We've got a grandson, and I'm sure more will come over the years. And I love every minute of that. Absolutely can't get enough of time with him. But again, I do that thing in my mind, probably not the most healthy and probably not, is thinking how much of his life and subsequent grandchildren's life will I be around for, and in what capacity. I feel good now. Health is fine. Some aches don't clear up as quickly as they did in the past. But again, I can live with that. There's minor things. Health-wise, everything seems good. But things can change, and they change quickly. And, you know, I saw that happen with my mom in a very short period of time. And I definitely don't want to live in doom and gloom. But quite honestly, I think that's something that occupies my mind a lot with coming to grips with aging and what's to come. So I'm going to try to put this in better thoughts, and I'm going to try to create some videos that can better articulate both my experience and what I see other people go through in their own experience at my own age, and then beyond that, continue to get into the older ages. So who knows where this goes, but I've been wanting to do it. I've been doing a lot of talking about it, and I want to stop talking and do something. So that's what prompted this video. And I hope that I follow through and record more tomorrow and the next day and start to make this something that will be helpful to others and less rambling than what I've done so far. So anyway, those are my thoughts, and that's where I'm at. So I hope this is something that can make a difference for somebody else.